This package should contain a Carl Zeiss rifle scope manufactured in the United States, made exclusively for Asian customers. According to the eBay seller, this particular model of scope was not intended for sale in the United States, therefore it supposedly doesn't look like any scopes you'll find for sale here. It also bears an uncanny resemblance to a number of off-brand scopes being sold on eBay, which is a little suspicious. Let's see if I can get this open. As you can see, hopefully, the packaging is pretty decent. I wanted to show you this wrapped to point out that the customs declaration form indicates that it's a toy worth $15. This should not have been in any way necessary. It's of course not a toy, and it costs a lot more than $15. Theoretically, this having been manufactured in the United States, it should be perfectly legal to import duty-free, so there should have been no reason to list it as a toy. Supposedly was sent from Singapore. That's a pretty law-abiding country, so that's somewhat encouraging, but the customs declaration is not. So the question becomes, is this a gray market item simply sold to an American customer, which ought to be entirely legitimate, or is it a counterfeit? I don't happen to know the answer to that, but if it is a counterfeit, that raises a question in my mind: is it a good counterfeit, or a counterfeit of questionable quality? And that's why I have this water here. Figure, regardless of whether or not it's a legitimate American-made Carl Zeiss scope or simply a decent quality counterfeit, that it should at the very least be waterproof. And let's see, looking at the graphics here on the side, it's not real promising. Little Conquest is not completely printed. Trying to take off accessories here. Take a quick look at the optic. Get right to the water immersion test. This is a bit unnerving, doing this with something that I've paid so much money for, but I've got to figure out whether or not it's going to fog up on me when I need it. So I'll just leave it in here. I don't know how long I should really leave it. If it's a cheap knockoff, my guess is that it'll leak pretty quickly, and if it's good product, regardless of its origin, it should be watertight and be able to withstand several minutes of immersion. So while it's sitting there potentially leaking, I'll go ahead and tell you a little bit about the scope as it's described in its listing. Basically, it's got a 50mm adjustable objective lens. It's not that you can see it here, 4:16 power magnification. And you've already seen the flip-up lens covers, which held on pretty tight there, seemed reasonably serviceable, and the lens shade, which should screw on to the objective lens without a problem. Not entirely sure what this is. Maybe scope rings? It wasn't advertised, I don't think. Oh, yeah, and it comes with its own scope rings, which is a plus. I already bought some for it, but these look pretty decent, actually. I might give those a try. They should be the right height for it, and I guess there's a little lens cleaning cloth. Let's see what this paperwork says. Doesn't say anything about brand here, just gives some instructions, rather minimal. This particular model does have an illuminated mil dot reticle, which was one of the main selling points for it. It looks as though the instructions were written by somebody who can actually speak English, which is always nice for something coming from that neck of the woods. And I have no way of telling how this is doing, but I'm guessing it's probably been in there long enough, so I'm going to just go ahead and dry this off a little bit so I can get some idea of what's going on inside. Got plenty of water on the surface of the lenses, which should complicate matters, but hopefully, once I get this dried off, I will be able to see if anything got inside. If I only notice later that it's wet, I will revise the video and let you know. Otherwise, just assume that my initial evaluation here is accurate. Hopefully I don't tell you in the next minute or two that it's been flooded with water and it's really obvious. But let me take a look here. So far, really hard to see that anything's gotten in there. It looks pretty good, but it's hard to see the inside barrel of the scope. I can just look through the end there. Ooh, this is anything but good. Now I can actually see, well, looking through the objective at the eyepiece, that there are beads of water on the inside of this thing, which tells me that I bought a cheap piece of garbage, probably made in China, if I had to guess, not the United States. I have no idea if that'll even show up on the video, but let's give it a shot here. I'll try to completely dry the objective. Now I've got water on the inside of the scope here. Is that coming out at all? Probably not. Yeah, maybe you can see a little bit of it. Okay, so if this thing ever dries out, it's not going on an expensive gun, to be sure, since I bought this from an overseas vendor that has no real return policy to speak of. I'm guessing I am stuck with it, and I don't really have a good way of proving that it's a counterfeit, I suspect, but who knows, maybe eBay offers some buyer protection for this. I doubt it, given the nature of the disclaimers on the eBay listing, but I will probably be leaving a negative review for them anyway. Anyway, I wanted to post this video to prevent other people from stumbling into the mistake that I have just made, and with luck this product will eventually be pulled from the market, but it looks like they've sold a lot of them already, and I suspect they're going to continue selling a lot of them. Anyway, my final conclusion is that this product is a total bust and you should avoid it.